Hello, I'm meteorologist Rob Karlmark, and there's a looming story in the background that concerns something that could potentially be very important for our area and really for the whole planet. We're going to start off with some talk about El Niño, but really one of the key signatures that's happening outside of that influence of El Niño, which is warmer water at the surface for the ocean, that could play into some major impacts down the road for California, because we are experiencing currently some really warm water compared to average up and down the whole California coast. Now, let's talk about El Niño. That's usually when we start to talk about sea surface temperature anomalies. Well, what is that? That's when the top layer of the ocean is abnormally warm, or sometimes it could be abnormally cool. We just went through that with La Nina. Then we went through sort of a neutral territory. Now we're in El Niño status, at least right now, but it has to carry on for 3 months in a row to be officially categorized as El Niño. But as you can see, all the computer models really like this trend of staying warm and actually getting warmer well into the summer, the fall, and even the winter. So that El Niño zone, which is very crucial, should be warm for a while. Underneath the surface, one of the reinforcing factors is what we call Kelvin waves. That's when you actually see warmer water that originates out toward Asia, and it's actually moving against the current, against where you would think across the ocean where it's just warmer. It surfaces towards South America, and then it will start to blow back over, and that's one of the key signatures of El Niño. Now, in the background, we are watching for the potential for a super El Niño, which is going to be 2 degrees Celsius above average for a while. Now, this has only happened in recent memory a few times. 82-83, 97-98, and 2015-2016. 82-83, 97-98 had very serious impacts for a long and very wet season for rain for Southern and Northern California. 2015-2016 was mixed. Northern California saw wetter than average conditions just barely, and Southern California was the exact opposite of what you would expect. So again, all of this talk about sea surface temperature anomalies usually starts with an El Niño discussion, which is where we are right now. But if you'll notice, a lot of the water across the planet is just warmer than average. You can see big pocket for South America, and then also not directly related to El Niño. This is happening outside of that. We've got very warm water off the coast of Baja, mainland Mexico, and yes, in California as well. You can see warmer water off the coast of San Diego, and including San Diego as well, and then all the way up through Northern California as well. Now, this is highly unusual, but it's going to have some very big impacts. Listen here to an expert who has more.
That warmer ocean water eventually is going to feed into things like evaporation, which then feed into weather systems, or for California, that could be atmospheric rivers. So essentially what these warmer ocean temperatures can do for us inland is create more rainfall, or even potentially change the way the weather patterns work in and around California and the West Coast.
Now, this has been happening for a while, and we expect it to continue because, as we all know, it takes a long time for water to warm up, and it takes a lot longer for it to cool down as well. So big things would have to happen in the atmosphere in order for that to change in the near future. Just looking at this year, they've got a great reputation of monitoring ocean water temperatures off the coast of La Jolla at the end of the Scripps Pier, and they've been looking at record temperatures since the beginning of the year for at least 30 days, and in some cases continuously. And the average water temperature that they've been breaking records by about 7 degrees, so this is highly unusual. So what does this all mean for us? When does this all come together? Well, when you start adding up what happened back in March, which was a huge bubble of high pressure that essentially eroded even the cloud cover, that was one of the main contributing factors for this ocean water to warm up outside of the influence of El Niño. Back in March, we were breaking records by 7, 8, 9 degrees day after day after day. So now we have this combination where we're going to have El Niño conditions developing regardless of what's going to happen off the coast of California. We also have marine heat wave happening off the coast, and all adds up to very likely just warm temperatures in general, along with other things. Marine life, if you affect what's happening with the food source for, say, marine life and especially seabirds, what they've already recorded in San Diego is a lot of birds, unfortunately, passing away. They've tested the birds for things like bird flu and other things, and it's not. It's due to starvation. So they believe that because the ocean water right now has already changed temperature, their source of food has moved either lower or deeper in the water or somewhere else, so they're already missing out. Marine life is already affected. The other thing that you'll notice going into the future is that if the ocean water is warmer, that means the air above is going to be warmer. Warmer air can hold more moisture, so we could see higher humidity. Also, if you have warmer temperatures, you could have a more active southerly jet, which is very important for our local weather, especially when it comes to El Niño conditions. It could be supercharged by warm water off the California coast. Also, tropical storms. Not too long ago, we thought, it was a historical anomaly that something like that happened back in the 1800s. Then we saw a lot of warm water all the way into the mid and upper 70s somewhat recently, and that could be one of the reasons why a tropical system barely was able to hang on with a tropical storm Hillary affecting Southern California not too long ago. And there's just many other things that we simply don't know how things are going to play out. So this is a story that is currently happening, it's ongoing and likely to continue with the addition of El Niño conditions into our summer, fall, and winter. So keep watching it. This is a big story with warm water off the California coast.